Hello guys and welcome to a new episode of the What You Want channel. Today it's going to be an in-depth review about one of my later acquisitions, the Seiko Sumo, the SBDC033, so it's the second generation Sumo. Actually, I'm making this video way earlier than I expected to produce it. It's simply, the reason for it is that I'm so overwhelmed by the fun, the joy that this watch brings into my watch life. It's just an exceptional piece. But maybe let's start with the history. It has a predecessor. It was the SBDC033, the first generation Blue Sumo. This first generation Sumo had this automatic writing in a different font, and also there wasn't the X that is the symbol for the Seiko Prospex line. Those were basically the main differences. The second generation Sumo is this one, and then there's the third generation Sumo that was released last year during Bezel World, I think. And yeah, let's go through the specs of this watch. The dimensions are a diameter of 44.5 millimeters, so it's a rather large piece just by numbers. The thickness of the watch is 13.5 millimeters, which is, I think, totally fine, especially considering the diameter. It's a three-hander with a date, especially if you compare it, for example, to the, let's say, the Black Base series by Tudor, and they're making even thicker watches, even though there is just simple three-handers, so the height is just okay in my opinion. And the lug-to-lug distance is 52.5 millimeters. So simply by the dimensions, actually a rather large watch. So the weight is, I measured it with 3 links removed, around 170 grams. The water resistance is 20 atmospheres, which equals 200 meters, so it's a certified diver. Apart from that, the movement is the Seiko 6R15. The third generation Sumo has the 6R35 that is also used in the Alpinist I bought recently. The lug width is 20 millimeters, and yeah, and I think they are out of production, so you can still get some. I got mine around 400 euros, which was actually a bargain. And yeah, let's get into details. The case finishing is just exceptional. I mean, you probably read a lot about it, watched a lot of videos, but you have to see it in person. All of these angles that meet is just exceptional. From the side, you have many different angles. It's totally different, the experience, compared to, let's say, in Seiko SKX or a Seiko Turtle. It's much more details to see here, and it's just nice. The bezel is, I haven't seen anything like this before. From the side, it almost looks like a cupcake, or like or more or less like a muffin, if you know what I mean. And the thing is, it really nestles into the sides of the watch, so you actually can't accidentally operate the bezel from the side. So if you have to operate the bezel, you do it from top and bottom. And the bezel action is very nice. I mean, it's not as nice as on my Fortis or on a Glycine. It's the typical Seiko feeling. By turning, it's similar to the SKX, but a little bit more satisfying. Yeah, I mean, especially this is centers. So this is something that is not like, say, typical for a Seiko. But while I'm doing this video, I see, even though it centers up here on the 12 o'clock position, there's a little bit of play down here, the 6 o'clock above the 30 mark. You see, it's a little bit off, but I mean, it's a Seiko. Or an older Seiko, you probably have to live with it. I'm a Seiko fanboy, more or less, so I have to live with it. Apart from that, bezel actual 120 clicks, satisfying aluminum bezel insert, and I really like this blue. I mean, it's a thing of personal preference, but in my opinion, the black one looks a little bit too harsh. The contrast between the dial, the dots and the numerals is a little bit too harsh, and it looks cheap to me. This one looks a little bit more sophisticated, and it goes well with a lot of attire. So the blue one was definitely the one for me to get. It has the date complication, always very useful. Actually, I can't really live without a date complication, I figured out. Yeah, to the case, it has a sign crown, very nice, and I'm really missing it on here. Here you can see the Alpinist doesn't have a sign crown anymore, and it really, I mean, of course we're you know, I'm more or less a watch nerd. I'm really like those simple small things, but it really makes a difference. It's deeply engraved, so it really gives me a sense of quality. The bracelet is maybe one of the most controversial parts, not because of the quality. It's a standard Seiko bracelet, which is actually very comfortable, I must admit. I mean, I could never ever think about getting the Seiko Sumo because of it. The overall looks and the numerals and the bracelet, the 20 millimeters, the luck to the luck width is very controversial because it's a 44.5 millimeter watch. So many people think it's too small, and I can understand that, but for me it's just the perfect size. Not only because you can get a lot of straps for it, because 20 millimeters is more the like standard size, and I have more 20 millimeter luck width watches. It just makes the watch a little bit smaller. So I have a 7-inch wrist, maybe get a distance, and I think I can totally wear this one. If you have a smaller wrist, you probably have to think or try it out before getting the Sumo. I think down to 6.75 or 6.5 inch, it's still okay, but under that it's probably too big. But you have to figure it out on your own. Even if you're using a leather strap or a rubber strap, you have to be aware of the fact that you have to attach the strap to a watch with a pretty big gap to the case, so it will still wear a little bit larger. Another aspect I have to mention, the drilled luck holes, very nice if you like to swap, like me, your straps on a regular basis. But overall, the feeling is just so nice, and I really like the clasp. I mean, it's double lock, fold over clasp, and then fold over a mechanism, and the push bottoms. I mean, it's stamped metal, but it's solid, it's secure. I'm not complaining about it anymore because it's simply secure, and it's a very comfortable bracelet. Not the best quality. I mean, of course you can find bracelets that looks nicer, but it's very comfortable. It's just a joy to wear. And you can see the finishing. It's brushed and polished with those polished channels. It gives you the illusion, at least to me, that it has like an extra pair of links. It somehow reminds me of the Omega Speedmaster bracelet, where this channel is actually independent. And yeah, it's just a nice way of finishing the bracelet. It has this not screw down mechanism, but those pin mechanism. Actually, it's easy to change, and once you've changed it, it's fine with it. The level of micro adjustments is just sufficient with 4 micro adjustments. It also has a diver's extension, which is pretty not so nice over here. I never operated it, probably never need it, but it's not the nicest. I mean, probably they should spend an upgrade here, like give it the mechanism or a new mechanism. I think the Marine Master, the Baby Marine Master, has the same mechanism, apart from the clasp is a little bit different, but they probably should upgrade this. But yeah, overall, what else is to say? Maybe to the movement itself, the movement is a 6R15, so it has a 50 hour of power reserve, which is pretty nice. It's more than you get from the Seiko SKX007 movement. It has hacking, hand winding. The operating action is very nice. I mean, you listen to the sound. Very smooth, no play. And the way you actually, it's of course a screw in, it has like a defined point where it stops. So the S will always be on the same position, at least what I experienced. So very, very nice. Overall, if you're looking for a diver's watch, if you're looking for the first Seiko in your collection, and if you like a little bit bigger watches, don't go for the SKX007. Don't go with the hype. I went with it twice and I sold both watches. Go for this one. It won't disappoint you. It is just an exceptional piece that can go with the casual attire and a little bit more sophisticated attire. Of course, it's not a dress watch, but the look is just really nice. The lume is exceptional. I will include a lume shot here. And quality control seems to be better, even though, and this is a downside, if you look closely here, there is something in my watch in the crystal up here. So I will also include an in-depth or like a macro shot, and there's something wrong with the crystal. I thought maybe I should return the watch, but since I've owned several Seikos, I thought, I mean, if this is the only problem I have, I simply stick with it. And at a later point, if I get more scratches in this mineral crystal, so it's not sapphire crystal, if I get more scratches into this mineral crystal, I probably swap it out and change it against sapphire crystal, and I will be totally fine. So overall, a very, very nice watch. And even though I'm a flipper, I think this time, fingers crossed, that this is going to be a big keeper in my collection. So thanks again for watching this video. Next time there's going to be an in-depth review of this beautiful watch, the Seiko Alpinist. I really like this one, 39.5 millimeters, beautiful watch with 70 hours of power reserve. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, leave some comments below. Criticism, everything is welcomed, as long as you stay polite, which all of you did. So I'm very happy just to have get positive vibes out of this channel, encounter nice people in the comments, and yeah, this is really what keeps my spirit alive doing this channel. Thank you very much. See you next time.